New York City is home to the United Nations, Wall Street, and Broadway. It's also where you will find the world's largest school system. Here, every day, more than 1 million students are educated in nearly 2,000 public schools. 10 of the nation's top performing schools can be found spread across the 5 boroughs that make up the Big Apple. Yet not everyone is enjoying a great educational experience.
I feel like I need a break from high school. It's just really stressful altogether. I need a break. Everything, basically. I feel like the way they pour out all this knowledge in my head, I can't learn that fast. I am a very slow individual. I will listen, and if it gets to the point where like they're taking too long to explain, I just stop functioning halfway, just like daydream. I have this blank face on my face when they're just like blank face, basically. I feel like every time I'm walking like in day and night, I have to check behind me every 24/7. Just out of safety and create like anxiety and stuff. But besides that, nothing really happens. I just reach home safe and it's just my head like spinning, overthinking and stuff.
Friends like Troy White and Jaheim Kelly worry about safety, and that's making their educational experience a struggle. They are students at Brooklyn's Cultural Academy for the Arts and Sciences. The school isn't ranked very high. It's nearly 8,000 out of 24,000 schools in the nation.
Sometimes it can be very dangerous, especially close by this area. There could be shootings at literally any moment at any given time. Sometimes in my room, I can hear it. I worry. The instant like a shot goes off, I just sit there and my heart beats, rapidly. And I just think about it. Interrupt my thought process, how my brain works. It interrupts everything. I can't think properly, I can't study properly, I can't do nothing.
Jaheim's father, Andy, isn't just concerned about safety. He's also worried about a lack of opportunity for the teens.
That's why I took him to school whenever I'm off. On my days off, I try to take him to school because every day you watch the news, somebody's got shot just by minding their own business, just by going to the store, just by sitting in their vehicle. And they got to do something about the gun violence in this city because it's getting out of control. In terms of violence, poverty, lack of opportunity, lack of resources. You understand? These are the areas that you see all of this happening. It doesn't happen in Manhattans and areas where schools are being funded properly. I don't want my son to go to school in an area where he's not safe and he's not guaranteed that he could walk from the bus stop to school safely because of what's happening around him, which is not his fault, but because of generation and generation of disparity that's been going on in our neighborhood and in our city and in our boroughs.
And here's why. Because New York has such a huge population, it relies on test-based school districting. So students who score higher on tests land in the higher-ranked schools. But critics say this only creates a self-perpetuating cycle of inequality.
The problem is that most parents, when they get the envelope to prepare for the test, they toss it. The reason why is because they would have to take the kid every Saturday down to Stuyvesant, from the Bronx down to Stuyvesant. I imagine they would have to sit there and wait for the kids because these are middle school kids. And it will be done over the summer, as well as during the year. So what happens is that a lot of kids, like in our kids, the ones that are given that opportunity, they don't take it. Because of course the parents, they're single parents. They work on the weekends and during the week, and they work long hours. If they're single parents, they have to support the family.
So many minorities in the city, lacking the advantages of wealthier students, find themselves victims of this system.
My name is Jean Mesereau. I teach high school seniors. My students are Black and Latino. I usually start the year with a unit on mass incarceration. We start from that lens because it's more of like the macro structure, and then that opens up like the narrower conversations about police brutality and like moments that they might unfortunately find themselves in. I teach them about a lot of levels of systemic oppression, from mass incarceration to racism within the educational system. I've had students come to me and talk about their experiences with racism and police brutality. This has been the experience of a lot of Black and brown folks for years.
Look, we're not gonna do this, right?
I've been pulled over by cops, I guess mistaken identity, but I was harassed, illegally searched, threatened. I've had, cops pull guns on me. I've been stalked and harassed by cops for actually recording another situation where cops were harassing someone. When you experience police brutality, it's hard to process at first. I mean, you have moments where it's hard to even believe that it's real. But, again, it's like a reality check. And when I went through those experiences, it just made, I always knew police brutality was, a part of our society. But, when you experience it firsthand, it kind of just wakes you up to that reality. It's racism in education, healthcare, housing, basically every system and every institution that we have. I learned how to navigate and, fortunately come out of those situations without, any damage to like my life or my future. And for my own students and, children someday, I'm just gonna teach them how to navigate those situations and how to keep their composure, because that's important. This picture right here was a shot of a basketball hoop in an abandoned school in Newark, New Jersey. I used to teach in Newark, and the school system there, when I was there, lacked like a lot of resources. Schools weren't, the buildings that I taught in specifically weren't really maintained well. A lot of them are, even if they're still like running, are abandoned. Like a lot of the administration and even the educators there aren't really invested in the school. And because of that, a lot of the students, again, in my experience, weren't really invested in the schools. So this, I felt like, was symbolic of that. It's almost like symbolizes like an abandoned dream in a sense.
This is not a broken system. This is exactly the way this was supposed to be made. We don't actually have enough jobs to serve all of our graduates from high school and college. And we don't have enough systems of care to support vulnerable people. So we throw them into prisons, right? We over-police them. And so when we think about like what happens when you segregate a community, segregate a school, it's much easier to over-police schools that have been historically segregated. You can justify that these are dangerous communities. You can use all of the racist rhetoric that was used in the 50s to redline districts and say they're dangerous, the people don't care about their communities, they're dilapidated, without acknowledging the disinvestment, the over-policing, the under-resourcing, the strategic undervaluing of these communities. And then you basically justify funneling them into the carceral state.
For Jaheim, Troy, and classmate Takaria, this system feels as though it's stacked against them, and it can be isolating and discouraging.
Sometimes, because I feel like just because I live here and I go to a school like that in this area, I feel like they're looking down on me. It can take your motivation away. It can make you just want to drop out of school, which is why I feel like kids out here that be in gangs and stuff like that, it has something to do with issues when they go to school and they feel like, I don't even belong here. Where I grew up, this, that, and the third, and they shouldn't have to feel that way just to go in the school building.